Record. Okay, perfect. All right. Hello and welcome back. So happy to see you guys. For some of you guys that weren't here last week, I'm gonna do a little review and then we're gonna go into this week. Happens to be I didn't really get through so much last week. It was kind of like went off a little bit on my own personal journey, but today we're gonna try to get back a little bit more into this into the book. Um so last week we discussed a little bit about what it is when the benefits of bitachon, when a person has bitachon. Now, obviously, it's like obvious, right? Like if you have tranquil, like if you have, trust in Hashem and you really fully trust that everything is from Him, then you have tranquility in your life. You have peace of mind. But Sha'ar Bitachon goes a little bit deeper into what that means. And we're going to discuss a little bit about that today. Okay, so a big thing about what we learned last week was that when a person has bitachon, it's not necessarily a mitzvah in the positive commandments, okay? It's actually a mitzvah in the negative commandments, which is that it's basically an extension of a negative commandment, which it states that a soldier may not fear the enemy during combat. Okay, that's what we discussed last week. Now, what does that mean? Usually, when a person goes into war, okay, most likely they're going to be scared. Okay. And we're not talking about war, like actual combat that we're talking about like we did like years ago. We can even talk about the simplest wars that we have with ourselves. Okay. Anxieties, depressions, fears, all these things are wars. Okay, that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so what does it mean that a soldier should not be afraid when he goes into combat? Okay. It means that in general, Hashem is expecting each of us to not hold fear in our heart when things are happening to us, when things are difficult, when every day we wake up and we're challenged with things in our head, or even in life. It doesn't have to necessarily be in our heads, but even if, let's say, you wake up and you have a challenge and it's very difficult for you, that within itself is like a battle. So you can't be afraid. That's a person with bitachon. A person with bitachon and trust in Hashem is that they don't feel fear. They don't feel anxiety. They feel what it's called, and this is one of the benefits in which he says, is tranquility. Okay? It's calmness. So a big understanding of with a person, if they do have bitachon, okay, how can you measure it? Ask yourself, do you have a lot of fear? It doesn't have to necessarily be like a fear of snakes. It doesn't have to be a fear of, like the smallest things. I'm talking about any type of fear. If you have fear, then in that area, you don't have bitachon. So it's a very simple way to measure what your bitachon is and where your fear comes into play. Okay. So I could tell you for a fact that I do fear snakes. Okay. That's like a different story. Like I am very fearful. I have like a phobia of snakes. And for me, like, I actually, if I see a snake, I will literally freak out, like freak out. So in that area, my bitachon is very low. So one thing that I do want to say is that a lot of times people say, okay, you have free will in this world, right? We choose what we have to do, right? So how does bitachon come into play, right? When let's say a person asks, let's say I've heard a lot of asking these questions, right? It's like, okay, if you have bitachon, you can't just sit back and let God do it, right? Like, what does that mean having bitachon? Do you just sit back and relax? Like, how much ishtadlut do I have to do? So I heard a rabbi say this once, and it's very interesting. And he says that your amount of ishtadlut is based on how much bitachon you have. So, for example, okay, if a person has to work, right, and he has 30% of bitachon in Hashem that he's gonna make money, then he has to work extra hard. Okay, he has to work another 70%. But if let's say a person has about 90% bitachon in Hashem and parnasa in livelihood, then he doesn't have to work so hard. He works what he has to do, 10%. He goes to work, like he takes the car to work. He works his 9 to 5 job or 9 to 2 or whatever it is. And he comes home. He doesn't think about it all day. He doesn't come home and, oh my God, wait, should I have done that? Did I do that wrong? Should I repeat it? Should I not? Should I call him? Should I make the deal? Should I not? Because at the end of the day, that's adding more percentage to the amount of ishtadlut that you're doing. So your ishtadlut is based on how much bitachon you have. Okay? So, in my personal experience, right? Um, right, I'm dealing with a very hard challenge, but my ishtadlut is I wake up on the days that I have treatment, I go to treatment. Other than that, I'm not dwelling. Not dwelling. I'm not sitting in my house dwelling on what can be, what will be, what was, not dwelling on it. Why? Because my bitachon in this area is high. Okay? In my bitachon in believing that Hashem is with me and I'm trusting him and that he's gonna take care of me is higher in this area. Okay? Now, can I say the same about snakes? Okay. If let's say right now I were to see a snake or whatever, or let's say I live in a place where there's a lot of snakes, let's say, okay. If I don't have a lot of bitachon and Hashem that a snake is gonna come and bite me, okay, I'm very scared of that. So then I have to make sure to buy the certain products that can make sure that the snakes won't come. I'll come and bring people that will make I don't know how to say this in English, or risus, basically like someone that sprays to make sure that there's no bugs or whatever. So that's my ishtadlut, but I'll obviously go more than a normal person because I don't trust Hashem in that area. Now I'm gonna just tell you guys over in general. A person can have bitachon in different areas in their life but may not have the same bitachon in other areas of their life. Okay, so just like, for example, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you guys, and you think, oh, wow, this girl has so much bitachon because she's teaching bitachon. Maybe in this area I have a lot of bitachon, but in other areas I lack. And I do. I'm telling you with full confidence that in other areas I do lack. You guys hear me?
No, something happened to your microphone in the.
Do you guys hear me? Yes? Okay.
Yeah, now we
It's
can hear
working.
you.
My husband just walked in and his iPhone connected to the computer. Okay. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. So going back to where I was at. Okay. So we're understanding that idea that your bitachon is the correlation to how much ishtadlut you have to do is how much bitachon you have in every aspect and department in your life, in shlom bayit, in parnasa, in happiness, in patience, in whatever you are going through, and there's different departments in your life. You need to start and analyze. Okay, I have different departments in my life, just like we have different rabbis that we go to for different things. Okay, there could be a rabbi for kosher, there could be a rabbi for nida, there could be a rabbi for different things. Your bitachon is going to vary for different departments. It's not just like, oh, you're a bal bitachon and that's in everything in your life. Sometimes it's harder in different departments. Okay, so it's just something to think about. Okay, from this is just like a little, I just added this. It has nothing to do with the book, but I think it's something that I do want to discuss because it's important. And we're gonna move on. Okay. So any questions on that? By the way, you guys can raise your hand if you have it on the little on your computer, if you do have a question. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. When a person trusts in Hashem, okay, you're giving him space. In my other previous shiurim, I did discuss the importance of giving and allowing Hashem in. There is an important understanding in this because we have to understand something simple. Hashem is not a trespasser. He's not going to trespass into your property, into your mind, into your stuff. He's just not. Okay? That's the whole beauty of free will in this world. Okay? It's the understanding that we are our own person. We are, right? Hashem is in control of everything in this world, but we are in control of our spiritual and emotional well-being. And also if we choose Hashem. Okay? Hashem is not going to strike you with lightning or hurt you if you don't keep kosher. Like that's not how it works in this world. Okay? It's not. So the main basis is when you allow Hashem in, the more you allow him in, the more he's there. Okay. So if you don't see God, it's because you choose to not allow him in. It's as simple as that. Okay. It's not complicated. Don't overcomplicate it. Hashem is extremely simple. We just complicate things. Okay. As humans, we love to complicate things and it's fine because we're complex. Okay. But the more that you bring in Hashem, the more you will see Hashem. I could tell you from personal experience in my life, that's just how it is. And that's going to be for you guys also. In every person's life, that's how it is. So the Rambam, like in my previous show, I said the Rambam explains if we are separated from Hashem, he is also separated from us. Now, I want to clarify, just like I clarified in the other show, that doesn't mean that Hashem leaves us and abandons us. Hashem does not leave us ever and does not abandon us. He is not a person. Okay. He's not up to conditional love, it doesn't work like that for him. He's unconditionally gonna love us and be there and support us. Okay. So I want you to hear that again. He will unconditionally love us, support us, and be there for us always. Okay. But what do I mean by if you're separated from him, he will be separate from you? There's two things in Shaar Habitachon that he discusses. He says that there's two layers of divine providence. Okay, divine providence is basically ashgacha pratit. It's how Hashem controls the world and how he shows up in your life. Okay, so number one, it's inner providence. Okay, which is that Hashem is not hidden from you. Okay, you know that there's a supernatural force guiding you. Okay. So in regards to my life, because obviously I'm not going to talk about other people's lives, so I'm always giving you my examples. When I was diagnosed with my cancer, there was a lot of things that I noticed that were supernatural. Okay. It wasn't like a normal situation. Even my own words, I couldn't really describe like what I was feeling, how I was like acting. People that were close to me were like, Shani, are you okay? Like, how are you acting this way? And I understood that the only way that I can explain it was that like God, like he's just taking my hands and he's doing it. Like till today, I feel the same way, right? So now, can I say this about everything in my life? No, there's some things where I feel like I don't feel like a supernatural force is guiding it. In this area, in this department in my life, I do feel that Hashem is literally not hiding. He's fully saying, hey, Shani, I'm here. Like, I'm with you. I'm holding you. I love you, right? But maybe in other departments, he doesn't. I don't see him so clearly. In this department, he is not hidden from me. Okay. And it's the most important. I'm happy that in this department, he's not hidden from me because it was a very big challenge. And from that, it's called inner providence. Okay. So he's like inside. He's inside and you see him. That's called inner providence. Okay. Now there's another divine providence and it's called external providence. Okay. External providence means Hashem is here, but he's concealed. Okay. You actually think that it's you. Okay. So if, let's say, right now, a person makes a very good deal and gets $1 million, he's going to be like, all right, guys, clap it up. Like, it's me. I did this. I'm the one that got the deal. I'm the one that brought the people to the table. I'm the one that deserves the $1 million. That's all me. So in this situation, Hashem didn't abandon the person and just allowed him to have $1 million. Nothing goes beyond Hashem's like will, right? Like this was Hashem's doing, just he's allowing you to think that it's you. Okay? He's completely hidden. Now I want you to think a little bit about this and I want you to really, really like reflect. How many times are we more in the external providence than we are in the inner providence? Okay. Because for me, at least, I feel like There's a lot more external provenance that I know Hashem is here, but he's very hidden. Like I kind of feel like this is me. Like I'm just doing this, Like, and it happens to us a lot because, like I said in my previous shurim, and I'm gonna repeat it again, Shaar Habitachon is extremely repetitive. Sorry, guys. In order to reach bitachon, it is determination and training. That's it. Okay? That means that if I'm gonna talk to you and teach you Shaar Habitachon, it's also a training, and we're gonna constantly repeat certain things because our brain needs it repeatedly. Okay, just like our negative thoughts are repetitive, our positive thoughts and our emunan bitachon and the things that are gonna push us need to be repetitive. So I'm going to explain it again. Hashem is always taking care of us. Always. If you don't think that way, we can have a separate conversation. And it's okay if you don't feel that way. It's okay. Our feelings are always, sometimes they're not always right. And like I said before, when we close our eyes during Shema, why do we close our eyes? Because Hashem is trying to say that when you are saying that I am one, you need to close your eyes because your eyes deceive you so much. What you see is not always what it is. Sometimes what you feel is not always what it is. So when Hashem wants to give to you, and sometimes you feel like he abandoned you and he's not there, okay, that means he's just an external providence. He's there, but he's hidden to you. And like I said before, very important, Hashem is only separated as much as you separate from him. So if you don't feel Hashem in a certain place in your life, in a certain difficulty in your life, I want you to sit with yourself and reflect. How much have you given yourself to him? How much have you really, really, really just like relaxed and fell back in his arms? We are all in Hashem. So when you fall and you feel like you are rock bottom, you are just falling into Hashem. That's it. You're not falling anywhere else. Now, the problem is we don't always feel that it's Hashem, and sometimes we feel like he abandoned us, and that's okay to feel that way. But our feelings have a certain department, and what is real is another department sometimes. And we have to be able to separate the two. Because if you don't, unfortunately, we fall victim to our feelings, and then we get into this whole rabbit hole, and then Hashem can't be there because he is not a trespasser and he doesn't go in where he's not allowed in. Okay? So today, I want you guys to really think in where in my life, in which department in my life, do I not give space for Hashem? Okay, that's the first step. Okay, we're not going into like how you're going to fix that yet. First step is be aware. Okay, where do you have the most anxiety? Where do you have the most fear? Where do you have the most anxiousness, sadness, depression? All these negative feelings are just otherness. Okay. There's a book, I really, really, really love it. And I really recommend it to every single person to read it. It's been an extreme help to me during this time and to any person during any time in their life. It's called Your Awesome Self by Stirna Ginsburg. I will start teaching it together with this book because I think it really does match together. But she speaks a lot about how when you are not in the reality of Hashem, you are in otherness. So any negative emotion that you are feeling, any negative thing that you are experiencing is all other than Hashem's reality. Okay. So when you're feeling fear, anxiety, stress, whatever you're feeling, you're really not in Hashem's reality. Okay. And should always be in Hashem's reality. Unfortunately, we're not, but this is why we have shurim. This is why we learn. This is why we mitchaskim because of this. Okay. Oh my God, for a second, I thought I didn't record. Okay. So there are two things. Okay. There are two options that you make every second and every minute and every moment of your life. You either rely on Hashem or you don't. That's it. You either connect or you don't. It's not as complicated as we make it. In every decision that you make, You are either bringing Hashem in or you are distancing from Hashem. Whether it's, okay, I'm going to eat ice cream. Okay. Will I make a bracha or not? Okay. That is a simple, simple decision that it's either you're bringing spirituality into your life, you're bringing a channel in which Hashem can give you bracha and he could talk to you through it, or you're cutting it off and you're just eating your ice cream and using that animalistic part of you and completely disregarding that spirituality. Okay. So that's decisions that you're making to either connect or disconnect. Okay. When you are about to fight with your husband because he literally, for the 15th time, you've explained to him something and he literally does the same thing again. Okay. You're about to literally like lose it on him and you're about to scream. In that moment, you either close your mouth, breathe, calm down, choose your words wisely. Okay. In that moment, it may seem to you like you're either connecting with your husband or not. No, in that moment, you either chose Hashem or you didn't. What does that mean? It means that when you are a Bat Israel, okay, when you are the daughter of Hashem, there's a way that you hold yourself. There's a way that you speak. There's a way that which you conduct your behavior. Okay. When you scream or when you get angry or when you're impatient or frustrated, that is the Yetzer Hara, okay? And the Yetzer Hara a lot of times helps us distance from Hashem. So in that moment, if you and your husband, again, for the 15th time, did something that you asked him not to do, and you go and you scream, in that moment, you just distance Hashem. That's it. In that moment, in that second, you just distance Hashem from you. That's just what you did. It's okay. But it happens. But in that moment, that was your decision, and that created that drift. But if again your husband did that and you stop and you think and you're like, okay, I'm very mad right now. I'm very frustrated right now, but I'm a Bat Israel. How would Hashem want me to conduct? How would he want me to conduct this situation? How would he want me to talk? How would he want me to behave? In that moment, if you choose to calm yourself down, to not let the Yetzer Hara get the best of you, then you compose yourself and then you say, my dear husband, my love, da 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 da. That was very annoying. It was very hard for me, and I really, really don't appreciate it, etc. Okay. In that moment, you brought in Hashem. Okay. The more that you bring in Hashem, the more you see him. It's as simple. The more you bring him in, the more you see him. And in that moment, maybe you didn't see Hashem, even if you conducted yourself bebat Israel and you conducted yourself like really like a daughter of Hashem. But later on, you're going to start to see that you're going to be more empowered from Hashem's energy because the more that you connect with Him, the more energy that flows through you is God's, right? So when you think about it, when you talk to people that have emunah and bitachon in Hashem, right? You can feel it on them. The energy that comes with them, you're like, how do you do it? Hashem empowers them. The more that you give space for Hashem, the more He allows His energy to flow through you because you are a part of Him. Okay? So, in Shaar Habitachon, he explains that when a person doesn't have bitachon, he often has misguided trust. Okay, so he often trusts in things that are non Hashem, in which God often just throws himself out of the picture and he leaves you to whatever you trust yourself in. That's what I said at last show, okay? But a lot of times, whatever you trust in, you will lose it. So if you trust in your strength, if you trust in your wealth, if you trust in your own wisdom, Hashem will make you lose it one way or another. Okay. So happens to be, we think about it like in wealth, right? You see a lot of people that have no bitachon in Hashem. They're not even religious and they're extremely wealthy. And you're like, okay, but I don't get it. Like, they're not even doing anything in the Torah. Like, how are they so wealthy, so, doing their own thing? Like, how is this possible that they're like, Hashem is taking care of them like this? So Shaar Habitachon actually says something very interesting. And they say that with wealth, it's either if a person trusts only in their wealth and he doesn't give space to God, He will either take your wealth and give it to someone else, or he will give you wealth and you can't enjoy it. Okay? Now, when Hashem gives these people wealth that have no bitachon, they don't talk to Hashem, they're not religious or whatever, in Shaar Bitachon it says that Hashem leaves it in the possession of these people to give it to keep it until it is returned to the one who is deserving. So it's actually just like a placement until the person that is righteous deserves it and he gives it to them. Okay, so a lot of times you'll notice people that are very wealthy, all of a sudden they lose all their money, or like, what happens to them, or they never lose their money, but later on in their generations, it does happen because of things like that. And it happens because Hashem will give money and wealth, but it's either that they can't enjoy it, or he gives it to them, but it's only in order for them to keep it for the other person until they deserve it. So, how many times have you seen people that are extremely wealthy and they're literally not religious, but they don't sleep at night because they're constantly stressed and anxious about their business deals, what's going on? They're not enjoying things with their family. Everything is stressful because God is not allowing them to enjoy it. I remember one time I was in the car with my husband and he said something very interesting. He goes, it's so, it's really crazy because there's some people that are so wealthy. Like literally, you don't even know how much money, like it's crazy how much wealth they have, and they don't spend a dollar. They literally cannot spend a dollar. And I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, how is this possible? How is like I was really coming from a place of like, I don't get it. And he said something and he said, because they're two separate brachot. There's the bracha of the wealth itself, and then there's the bracha of actually enjoying your wealth. And I want to just take a moment and to separate this from money. This could be with anything. Hashem can give you the most beautiful life materialistically, and you could be the most unhappy person ever. Just like Hashem can give you the most simple and actually like really minimalistic life, and you could be the happiest person ever. Because there are two brachot that Hashem can give you. He can give you the actual thing, but to enjoy it, it's a different bracha. Okay? Just like health, right? You have health, right? Baruch Hashem, a person wakes up in the morning, but a lot of times we take it for granted until we don't have the health. And then we really, really appreciate it. Then we really understand, right? So life without appreciating what you have or understanding the bracha of itself is actually horrible. And it could be within the fact that we don't have bitachon in Hashem. And that also within itself is the negative consequence of not having bitachon, right? So sometimes it's not just about, oh, what Hashem gives to us on the surface. You may see a lot of people that have the wealth and the success and they're going on vacation, but they have so many issues behind it because when a person doesn't allow Hashem in, then they're leaving their trust, they're leaving everything to the materialistic and to the limiting. And that within itself is the worst thing you can do because everything is conditional, everything is limited. And so everything just goes by nature. And you want something that is beyond nature, right? You want to enjoy things. You want Hashem to be in your life so that you're empowered by something that is unlimited, by something that is not conditional, right? Because that makes your life so much better. Everything is like a bracha, everything you feel, everything is empowered by the master of the universe, which is much more than we can ever imagine. So, like I said, a sinner that basically gets the wealth or whatever Hashem gives him is just the middleman who amasses wealth, okay, for the righteous man, okay? And he doesn't derive the benefit from the wealth, okay? He really doesn't derive the benefit from the wealth. If a person doesn't have bitachon, he doesn't derive benefit, not only from wealth, from anything. Okay, and you'll notice it. You'll see people with the amount of bitachon that they have, they can go through the hardest things in life and they're smiling, and you're just like, I don't get it. Like, how are you smiling during this difficult time? How is it possible that you're literally okay? You're not even okay, you're happy, you're enjoying. And then you see people that are having everything in their life and they're sad, they're depressed, they're anxious, they have to be on medications for these things. So Shaar Habitachon explains it to you, okay? And he starts by explaining it to you like that, okay? So, hmm, he also explains another part where he says that when a person has bitachon, they have independence. Okay? So he doesn't need to place hope in man. And unfortunately, we live in a time where we are extremely like focused on other people. We are focused on other people's validation, on other people's acceptance. We don't want to be rejected. A lot of times, why do people post all day and our Instagram and TikTok and this and that? It's because at the end of the day, they're so focused on receiving, right? They have this need for other people. So actually, you're building a dependence. Okay? You're not actually independent. You're dependent and you're a slave to other people. Okay? To other people's opinions, right? How many times if a person insults you, not like you had a great day and one person comes and insults you, you're going to think about it all day. Right? Like, let's say I'm a mother, right? If someone tells me such good things about my daughter and I'll be like so happy, I'll literally make my day, all of a sudden a person comes in and is like, oh my God, your daughter did this. Like what type of mother are you? Right? Even if in the beginning of the day someone said something nice about me as being a mother, the negative will stay with me. Why? Because we live in a world in which we do care about what other people say about us. And a lot of times it really does feel like what other people say or how they accept us or if they reject us is our worthiness. So actually, we aren't independent, we are very dependent. We are very dependent on other people. We are very dependent on our insecurities, our things that are constantly making us enslaved and sad, anxious, whatever negative emotion is coming out of that, you're dependent on it. Okay? So when you have bitachon, when you have full trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay, you have independence. You do not care about other people. Literally. Like, you could say whatever you want to me. At the end of the day, number one, I know it's from Hashem. Number one. Okay. That's like, I literally don't see you. Like, I see Hashem talking to me. And number two, Hashem's with me. So, like, you're just like I don't need even these distractions. Oftentimes, when you have independence because of your bitachon, you're not distracted. And the biggest part about this is that when we are distracted by all this nonsense, we can't focus on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We can't focus on giving him and serving him and being connected to him because we're so focused on other people's opinions and other people's things. And when do I have time to pray? When do I have time to connect with you? When do I have time to do idbadadut and go outside and talk to you when I'm so focused on who's going to text me and what Instagram post and the TikTok and da-da-da and who's coming to my house? And these are all things that are distracting us from the work of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and from where we are and what our mission is in this world. It's all Evel Avalim, is what I'm trying to say. It's all an illusion. Okay? Is it very easy to say this and is it very easy to get out of it? No. But slowly but surely, the more that you hear this, the more that you're more aware of how dependent we are on other things and how much it distances us from our work from Hashem and how much it distances us from our mission in this world and who we need to reach in order to really reach our fullest potential. So that's also another benefit to having bitachon is not feeling pressured by other people, by external factors, and just being focused on what I need to do. Okay. I want to just say something very personal. Um, a big part of like I always wanted to do shiurim. I always wanted to, connect with girls, and I really felt like it was something that I know it sounds kind of like self-centered, but like I just feel like it was something that I really felt like I was good at, and I felt like Hashem gave me he gave me talents, strengths, positive things that I feel like I wanted to give to the world. I became a teacher for it, but I felt like there was more to it that I needed to do, in which I felt like lezakot rabim, which is, to inspire others, to give to others through Hashem's teachings and through the Torah. because I felt very inspired by it. But a big part of why I didn't do it was because I was extremely insecure. Like I come off confident, this, that, but there was a big part of me where I was very insecure about like rejection and like how people would think about it. And what if I, don't have a lot of people, or what if, people don't connect, or, what is it going to mean for me? And it's really, really interesting how Hashem does things because when I was diagnosed with cancer, it was like my whole world turned upside down. And what do I mean by that? It's not because, oh, like now I was healthy and now I'm sick. It was that I realized that on a different level, how much Hashem holds and how much Hashem is in control. And in that moment, when you understand that everything is in his power, he holds everything down to the most important thing, which is your health. I literally looked at myself and I go, who's gonna scare you now, Shani? What rejection, what disapproval, what's gonna scare you? Like in the moment of that a normal person would be like, oh my God, my whole life is like destroyed, like whatever. In that moment, I understood the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that the more that I understood that, the less people and their power had over me. So doing shiurim wasn't as scary anymore. Standing in front of people, I mean, I still get anxiety, don't get me wrong. I'm a human, I still have those emotions, but I have I feel like the more that I connected with a big part of who Hashem was, the more that people didn't scare me as much. It wasn't like the approval or disapproval or rejection or who's gonna come and who's gonna show up and who's that. And I'm not gonna say that like you don't have that because you're human. Like I said, we still have our emotions and that's okay. But to separate them from what is an illusion and what is not, what is gonna stop me and what is not, what is gonna distance me from Hashem and what is not. So I took it and I said, you know what? And I remember my mom telling me, like, I told her, I said, yeah, I think that after all of this, like after my treatment, after everything is gonna pass, I'm gonna do shiurim. So my mom was like on FaceTime with me, she goes, why are you gonna wait until after? Like just start. And like when she said that, I started getting anxious. I'm like, what do you mean start? Like I'm not gonna start. I'm like so nervous. I'm so anxious. And then I just did it because I said, like, no one has control over me. Sorry, but you don't. Like no one can hurt me. No one can, like, it's not going to affect me. Because at the end of the day, in this department, right? I told you in different departments, sometimes you feel differently, and that's okay also. In different departments, just like we're complex humans, we have different ways of thinking. And by the way, there are times, guys, that I do have to stop myself and say, 1 second, why is this situation, why is this person causing me to have anxiety? Why am I starting to fear this situation? Like, take a step back and say, they're just a person. This is just a situation. This is just work. This is just my career. This is just, at the end of the day, when you take things and you put it into perspective and you understand that Hashem is everything. Guys, he's everything. It doesn't scare you. And if it does scare you, take a step back. Take a step back, reflect, take time to really, really, inside your heart, really think, who is Hashem? Who is he? Because to me, he showed me who he is. He really did. He really did. So I'm saying this because when you have a challenge, which we all do, I'm not saying it's not hard, but I'm saying that when you do have bitachon and when you allow Hashem in, when you just take moments in your day to really just think about who God is, from when you're a fetus until now, who took care of you? Who took care of you? Who was there? When you drive from home to work, from work to your friend's house, from work to a restaurant, whatever, and Hashem shomer otach badrachim, when Hashem protects you in your car, when Hashem protects you every single day that you get home and that you're able to see your family and your husband and your who is doing all of that? It's not you. It's not you. It's not you. So in those moments when you're in a challenge, the first step is just allow him in. How do we allow him in? Think about him. Think about him. How do you allow someone in your head? You know, when like you're a teenager and like you have a crush on this boy and you're like, oh my God, but like just get over him, just get over him, right? Like, and your friends are like, Shini, yada, you deserve better, get over him, right? What's the first step to get over someone? Okay, in your thoughts, try to distance, distract yourself, go out, do things, right? Try to lessen the amount that you think about the person, right? So it's the opposite. If you want to think about someone more, if you want to try to give more space to that person, what do? You think about them. You sit down and you really reflect on all the good things that they did and all the things that they were there for you and da 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 da. And by the way, this is also for people. If you want to think good about someone else, what do? You think about them. You think about all the good things that they did. And in order for you to react positively to them, right? So it's the same way with Hashem. When you want to allow him in, the first step is just take a moment, guys, in your day, in your full day. Take off the music, take off your podcast, whatever you want to do, or even listen to show, whatever. Or you could just sit in your backyard, sit on your in your car, and just think, like, who is Hashem? 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. The more that you allow, what are you doing? You're opening this channel where Hashem's like, oh, here you go. You gave me space. I'm coming in here. Okay. And then you're more empowered to do things in your life because Hashem's got you. You gave him space to be. Gave him space to be there. So close your eyes, think about him, all the good things that he did for you, all the positive things that he was there for you for, right? Like all these things. And it's just you're gonna smile and you're gonna develop this openness with Hashem and you're gonna allow him to just empower you more and more because you're giving him that space. So that's the first step. Okay. By the way, this was not in Shaar Habitachon, the part where I just said to think about it, but this is my 2 cents where I really do believe that it does work in that sense. And I do believe that that's also how you build a very strong relationship with anyone in your life, including God. Okay. So in regards to bitachon, when you do have bitachon, you also have peace of mind and serenity, like I said, okay? I'm not going to go into that. That's common sense, like when you do understand that he's the master of the universe and you could just fall into his hands, you're chilling, you're relaxing. There's really nothing to worry about. He's got you, okay? That's it. Now, if you're scared, if you're nervous, that means you don't have bitachon. You got to discuss it in that department, okay? And you have to think about it more and you have to really try to internalize all the good that he's done in your life from when you were a fetus until now. Okay. So, Shaar Habitachon Shaar Habitachon goes into something very interesting. Okay. Now, when I was reading and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to explain this to these girls? Like, I feel like it has nothing to do, like, I don't know. So we're going to just ask Hashem to give me the right words in order for you to understand me the right way. Bezrat Hashem. And hopefully for you to get it. Okay. So Shaar Habitachon, he explains in the introduction, he gives 10 ways in which a person with bitachon is different than an alchemist. Okay. So I was literally reading this and I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? Okay. But then I read a little bit more and I'm going to try my best to explain it. So why does he choose an alchemist? Okay. So back then when Chovot HaLevavot was written, okay, an alchemist was known to be a very successful person. Okay, but not a right type of person. He actually was counterfeiting things like he did currency counterfeiting. So basically he made like gold and silver, but it was obviously illegal and he wasn't doing things right, but he was making a lot of money. So back then it's considered a very successful person. So he wanted to kind of like show you how a very successful person is different than a person with bitachon. Okay, because nowadays you're wondering, like, what does this have to do with anything? Nowadays, very successful people can look in different ways. Okay, we can look at it in different ways. We can look at it as someone with a lot of money. We can look at it with someone with a big house. We can look at it with someone with a beautiful family when other people are dealing with very hardships and having children and things like that. So basically, we're going to take what he says about wealth and we're going to use it to anything in our life, whether it's anxiety, whether it's difficulty at home, whether it's shlom bayit, whatever it is. But he basically explains the two between wealth, right? A person that has everything, he can have everything because he basically is doing everything illegal and getting the money for it. Okay. So the whole world was at his fingertips. Okay. And we're going to compare it to someone with bitachon. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Did I just explain that right? Because, like, I feel like I hope I explained that right. Okay. So he explains the first thing and he says, the difference between an alchemist and someone with bitachon. The first difference is, thank you. The first difference is the materials, okay? He says that an alchemist, he makes gold and silver, okay? So he needs specific materials. He can't just make work without them. He needs materials. He needs to do something, okay? So why is he different than someone with bitachon, okay? Is that someone with bitachon, he doesn't need any materials. Hashem provides for him. He gives. He does. Everything is in his like he can just give it to you. For example, we're thinking about it like, oh, okay, Shani, like, but be serious. Like, obviously we need work, like we need materials, we need to do our things. Okay. But if you look at the history of Jewish people, okay? One example, when we were in the desert, what did we eat exactly? Because the desert is a desert. Like, what can we eat in the desert? We can't drink, we can't eat. You're walking in the desert, there's nothing going on for you. Okay. If an alchemist was there, he wouldn't be able to make his money because he has no materials to make it. So, what does Hashem give to us? He gave us manna, right? Man. I'm like manna, man. Okay. And what was man at the time? Man was something he literally gave from him. And it was anything that you put in your mouth, it could taste like what you wanted. If you wanted a steak, you get the steak. If you want French fries, you get the French fries. Whatever you want, you tasted it. You're in the middle of a desert. Like, where are you going to find this? You're not. Hashem sent it to you from him directly to you in order to give. Did you have to get materials? Did you have to get branches in order to make a fire and take fish and burn it and make a dinner? No. You literally got food directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu because you trusted in Hashem and he gave straight to you. Okay? So, what does this have to do with our life? Okay? Like, what are we talking about right now? I'm talking about the possibility of what Hashem can do. That's what I'm talking about. The alchemist is just the representation of a regular person that doesn't have bitachon. Okay? A person that doesn't have bitachon has to go and do things and live life hardly, really hard, because he has to go get materials and do things and work hard and work in his career and push himself. But a person with bitachon, like I said, your ishtalut is the direct correlation of your bitachon. If you have 50% bitachon, then you have to do 50% ishtalut. If you have 100% bitachon, you need to do zero ishtalut. We don't all have 100% bitachon. So we have to do ishtalut in this world, okay? But in the matter of the Jewish people, when they got the man, they were walking in the desert. They did what Hashem wanted, which was just simply go and go and go and do. Okay, like just go. And so we walked in the desert. How are we going to take care of ourselves? We don't know. Hashem gave. Hashem did. Right. So we had bitachon that Hashem was going to give us, and He did. Okay. That is one thing that Shaar Habitachon really emphasizes because he brings in experiences and examples from the past and he compares it to someone that was just wealthy at that time, okay? And that everybody wanted to be like the alchemist because the alchemist had a lot of wealth. Just like today, we have a lot of role models of who we want to be and what we want to be. But really, the only role models we should be striving for is someone with bitachon. Okay, that's basically what I'm trying to say. Is that if you have bitachon, you really have everything. Okay? So he says another thing, and he says that another part of why an alchemist and someone with bitachon is so different is that an alchemist at the time that he was making his gold and silver, he did a lot of work that would cause him harm. Okay, the fumes of making all those gold and silver would be very harmful for his health. Okay, so in Shaar Habitachon, he explains that a person who trusts in Hashem and is secure in his trust in Hashem, there's no bad that's gonna come. Okay, now it's very funny to say this, and I'm gonna end with this because it's I just wanna it's a long story, and I'm gonna say a story about it, but it's an interesting thing that he says that no harm is gonna come to him. What do you mean by that? Like if someone has bitachon, I've seen people that have bitachon and a lot of harm came to them. Like a lot of bad things happen to them. You see a lot of religious people or people with a lot of bitachon and things really, really difficult things happen to them. They have challenges, they have hardships. You're literally looking at them like, how do they go through life? Right? Like, what's going on here? So I had a question like that a lot. Like I really, really, it was a question that really like sat with me, and I really wanted to hear what Shah Bitachon had to say about it. So I'm gonna hopefully, with God's help, Izrat Hashem, he's gonna give me the right words to say this. But basically, they say that anything that happens to someone, okay, is from Hashem. So if it happens from Hashem, it's ultimately good. Okay. So if it's ultimately good, then we should be happy, right? I'm gonna say a story because it's a little bit like easy to say that, but then it's like, okay, what happens when you're actually in a challenge and you're like, okay, God, like what's going on here? Like, how am I gonna be rejoicing and happy? Okay. The Talmud comes and says a story, okay? And he says a very interesting story, and I actually really loved it. And he talks about a sage that was named Nachun, okay? And this sage Nahon would always say Gam zu letova. That was his thing, like literally to the point where they literally called him that. Like everything was Gam zu letova. Everything is for the good. Everything is for the good. Everything is for the good. Now I just want to let you know, I've met people like that, and you're like, okay, like wake up. Like what do you mean Gam zu letova? Like you're literally going through such a hard thing. Like how are you saying this? It doesn't make sense. Like I get it that everything's for the good, but do you really feel that way? Like what, you know? And in this story, they give him, and he says, he always says Gamzure Tova. So there was a time where, at the time, it was the Roman emperor was taking charge, and he had a meeting with the Roman emperor in order to speak to him and to discuss how he can be kinder to the Jews. Because I guess at the time he wasn't so kind to the Jews and he wasn't treating them well. So he said that I'm going to go to the Roman emperor and I'm going to speak to him and I'm going to try to get him to, be kinder to the Jews. Now, obviously, you're not going to go to a Roman emperor and not bring anything with you, right? So he went and he brought a box filled with gold and diamonds, okay? And back then, obviously, you have to go long distances. It's not like here you take an Uber 5 minutes. You have to go long distance. And on the way, he stopped at like an inn, okay? And at the inn, the innkeeper saw the box and he stole it. And he said, "Wow, there's diamonds and all this gold. I'm gonna take the box and I'm gonna replace it with sand and soil and I'll put it back so you won't know that I took anything." And Rav Nachun, Sage Nachun, he went, he took the box, he didn't think anything was missing. Okay. And he goes in front of the Roman emperor and he brings him the box, and the Roman emperor opens the box and he's like, "Are you joking? Like, are you making fun of me? Like, is this what's going on? You're sentenced to death." Okay? And of course, what does he say? What does Sage Nachun say? Gam zule tova. Okay, how does a person say that? Like, you're literally being sentenced to death, you're about to die. Like, how does a person go and say Gam zule tova? Like, it's nice and it's cute, but like, do you really feel that way? He felt like that. In all his heart, he actually was like, Gam zule tova, everything is from Hashem. Everything's gonna be all good. He really felt like what was him sentenced to death equals good. Okay, that's the bitachon that he had. So what do you think happened? Okay, very beautiful story. Um, Eliyahu the prophet came in the um came in the form of one of the Roman emperor's advisors. Okay, he came down and he spoke to the Roman emperor and he said, the Jews wouldn't laugh at you like this, like they wouldn't mock you like this. right? Maybe there's something special about this sand and soil. Like he said that he once heard that Avram Avinu, the first Jew, he said that when he went to battle against the four kings, that he threw sand and soil on the enemies, and this sand and soil became arrows and deadly weapons. Like it literally turned into weapons and it killed, it helped them win the battle. He goes, so maybe this is the same. So in the story, the Talmud concludes that when he tried using the soil that the sage Nahum brought to him, a miracle happened, and it actually changed the sand and soil to arrows and deadly weapons. And in which afterwards, sage Nahum, not only was he basically like exonerated, but he was praised and rewarded. Okay, so it's interesting because they even explain in Shaar Habitachon even a deeper appreciation for this. The emperor already possessed many diamonds and gold and all these gems. I mean, he's an emperor, he has everything, right? So not only did the sage Nahum get rewarded, but he brought him sand and soil and made it unique to the emperor. He completely, it wasn't like he made the gold and the gems make it special. He made soil and he made something so simple. He gave it to them. He gave it to the emperor. He made it more unique. Okay. And that within itself, right, ended up being even more of like the basically the I want to say the right words because it's just like whatever. Having bitachon is not just like, oh, okay, you have bitachon and everything works out, and oh, okay, like he was exonerated. Not only was he exonerated and praised and rewarded, but something as simple as soil and like dirt was the thing that made him exonerated and rewarded. So what I'm trying to say in this is that Shaar Habitachon is trying to explain something, and in this story is trying to explain that when you have bitachon, nothing is impossible. It may look impossible. Like, did you really think that the soil and the dirt that he literally gave him was going to turn into weapons and da, da, da? Like he literally gave him dirt. And it turned into something so special and something so grand, and a miracle happened because Hashem was saying, here, I'm here. I'm here. This is me. I'm supernatural. There's a supernatural force working here, right? He said, Gamzu letova. When a person has bitachon, everything can change. Things that may be even difficult, things that may be even negative. He was sentenced to death. Not only was he rewarded and exonerated, but what helped him get rewarded and exonerated? A simple sand and soil. Sand and soil, not gold and gems and something so beautiful. And it was something so simple from the ground that helped exonerate a person and reward a person in front of the emperor, to show you that Hashem can change something like this. Something so simple, something from the ground, something afar ve'efer, and he can completely change it if a person takes the challenge, sees it in a way of actual joy and actual understanding that Hashem is doing this. And if Hashem is doing it, then it's ultimate good. That's it. That's how simple it is. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. Ach, Shani, you're making it sound so simple. No. But when you really in your heart take time, close your eyes, really try to give that space to Hashem and say, Hashem, it is very difficult for me to say Gamzu Tova, but I think that the only reason why I can't really say it with full heart is because I just don't know you enough. If I knew you enough, if I really knew you enough, I would fully feel that Gamzu Tova. And that is when you know that you are the only one limiting. You are the only one limiting Hashem's blessings. And when you take that moment and you're honest with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you say Gamzule Tova during a challenge, even if something is very difficult for you, even if something is like unimaginable, you can't even see any way out. Like, who would ever think that Rav Nachum was gonna get exonerated? He was literally on a death penalty because he gave him soil and dirt, like literally. And then that soil and dirt turned into weapons. I don't even know how that, we can't understand how that became what it became. Only Hashem can understand, only Hashem can give, only Hashem can make the impossible possible. Like this. Dirt, dirt became weapons. He became exonerated and rewarded because of dirt and soil. It's important to understand that bitachon is something that I hope all of us can attain. And that when you sit in the candles for Shabbat, it's not about only praying for health and happiness and strength and success. The main thing is bitachon. Because if you have bitachon, you have everything. Even an unhealthy person with bitachon has everything. Really, you do. You have everything. Because when you really feel that he's there and he's holding you, and that even the impossible can become possible, so then what's impossible? Nothing. You just feel like everything's at your fingertips and you just have it. And you have it with clarity, with serenity, with tranquility, no stress, no anxiety. Everything seems calm and relaxed because the master of the universe is taking care of you. So I'm going to end with that. That at the end of the day, we got to pray for bitachon. I do want to say that before all of this happened to me, like for years already, every night I would read a prayer. It's very funny. I would read a prayer of Emunah and Bitachon. I believe it was like 2 or 3 years ago that I screenshotted on my phone, and every night I would just say it. I don't know why, I just would say it. And I was like, all right, well, I don't think my Bitachon is like working. Like, I don't know if this prayer even works. Happens to be that when I was diagnosed, I don't know if it was even before or after, the picture got deleted and I couldn't find it anywhere. And in a way, I really think about it and I'm like, why? Like, why now specifically that I'm going through such a hard challenge that Hashem delete the Emunan Bitachon prayer? And I really felt that in that moment, the sign that I felt, right? I don't know if this is what it is, but I felt that I get it now, Hashem. It was to prepare me for this moment, right? Like that prayer was to prepare me for the moment in which I thought my life would change completely, but really I was just strengthened and empowered by Hashem. And all the nights that I prayed for Munan Bitachon was exactly what I got that night, was exactly what I got the night that I was diagnosed with something that I could literally feel like my whole life could fall apart and everything could, I don't see God and Hashem abandoned me. But instead, I felt the closest with Hashem and I felt like Hashem was empowering me. And then in that moment, or 2 weeks before, whatever, even after that, the prayer disappeared. It was like as if I attained what I needed to attain. So I'm still going to pray for bitachon, but I believe that that was a message also for me that I prayed for what I got and it strengthened me and I prayed for it even when I didn't know that in 3 years from now or whenever it was going to be that this challenge was going to befall on me. And I had them Munan Bitachon, right? So maybe in other areas in my life, I didn't. Even till today, maybe I don't have. But in the area in which I really, truly, truly needed it, Hashem was like, all those prayers went somewhere, Shani. And look, today, when you had that challenge, I deleted that picture. I literally couldn't even find it on my recently deleted, by the way, guys. I literally could not find it. It was like nowhere. I was like, where did it go? And I just felt like it was like Hashem closing that chapter for me. Like you can continuously, of course, you're going to pray for bitachon, but I want you to know that you prayed for it every single day, and that's what I gave you, right? So praying for bitachon, and I'm going to try to find the prayer because I want to send it to you guys so each one of you guys can read it at night. It's a very simple prayer. It's actually beautiful. And I truly believe that it was something that was there always. It was a prayer that was kept in a little box up there that when I really needed it, exactly. It really doesn't go to waste. No prayer does go to waste. And by the way, I love that you said that, Chaya Sarga, because I really did feel that way. Because I was like, in other things in my life, I'm like, I don't have bitachon. So like, I don't get what this prayer is doing. I swear, I was like, I'm praying every night, guys, literally every night. And I'm like, yeah, like I have bitachon, but not like the way that I should if someone's reading this paragraph every single night. And it was just crazy because I really felt that when I had that challenge, it was like as if I understood that like Hashem, it was exactly what I prayed for. So, Bezrat Hashem, from determination, from training, and also from prayer, I hope that we all reach such strong bitachon in Hashem and live a life in which we hold Hashem's hand and we feel Hashem in every single second, every single thing in our life, and that our life just becomes literally like just so clear, so beautiful, so tranquil, really with full menuchat nefesh and just Hashem's beauty, bemet. So thank you guys all for coming, for listening. You guys are amazing. We will have a continuation in the next 2 weeks, Bezrat Hashem. If anyone has questions, comments, concerns, let me know. But if anything, if not, you guys are more than welcome to get off and have a great night.
Thank you, Shani. It was so nice.
Thank you, Khaisar.
Thank you, Shani. Bye,
Thank you
Mama.
so much. It's beautiful.
Thank you, my loves.